I bought a Soda Stream the other day.
What's
What?
a Soda Stream?
You don't know what Soda Stream is?
I have absolutely
Is
no
it the
idea.
thing that carbonizes water?
Yeah, but you can put like flavors in it and shit and just like make soda at home. I've wanted one since I was like a little kid, and I was like, "Yo, they're only like $40." So
Dude,
I bought a Soda Stream.
Can you
impulse.
pretty much just make anything into soda?
Yeah. So Jeremy, I'm gonna need you to pee in a cup.
Oh man, you're not gonna want that because it's all you're gonna be like, holy shit, this is just Coca-Cola. That's the purchase of like a 55-year-old man.
No, I am super aware, but I've been about 85 years old at heart for the last decade.
Mm-hmm.
So you knew me in high school.
I did back when you were 75.
Have you like actually been using it, or
Do you have a squeakier chair I can use?
probably that one? No,
No,
actually,
it's supposed to arrive tomorrow, but I'm very looking forward to it.
ah man,
I want to hear updates on this,
Dude,
because
I will, because I know I'm going to be very
I want you to
excited.
try to sodify milk. I want you to try to sodify orange juice.
Why is sodifying milk so much grosser to me than getting Jeremy to piss in a cup?
because that one wasn't within the realm of your reach. Like now you're stuck looking at that milk jug going,
One day.
I don't want to do it, but it is available.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cracking Open Cryptid.
Damn, that sound is so satisfying.
I love that noise, dude. I'm drinking a Mike's Harder strawberry lemonade.
It's harder.
Yeah, it's like a Mike's Hard lemonade, but harder.
Yeah,
It's like Mike's Hard lemonade, but with an erection.
Well, with a bigger erection, you mean?
is there a third like hardest? Like
You know,
like
you might be onto
maximum
something.
hard.
Mike's?
It's just vodka.
Hit us
Like,
up.
It's just straight vodka. Yeah, it's vodka with like a squeeze of lemon juice in it. Yeah. I'd drink it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm drinking a Blue Moon, aka the best beer in the world.
He is right. He is right.
Why'd you get a Mike's Hard Lemonade if Blue Moon's the best thing you could be drinking?
Well, because that's the best beer.
And that's the best hard lemonade.
Yes, I would argue this is the best hard lemonade. I don't really like beer. Can I be honest? Can I be honest with you boys? I don't really like
Aren't
beer.
you German?
Partly. He's probably more German than I am.
I don't think I'm any German.
Aren't you both
Are you
German and Irish?
Yeah, but
The-
like...
The
Hey,
Irish
dude,
thing does stick. Yeah.
I'll go to a bar with my girlfriend and she'll be like, give me the darkest beer on the menu. And I'll be like, what's your fruitiest cocktail? And then they ask me, where's that accent from? And I go like, Germany.
Oh yeah, just like the fruitiest.
Anyways, what are we talking
Hold on,
about
let's
here?
all introduce ourselves.
Oh,
first.
right,
shit, yeah,
right. Yeah,
brand.
you're right. You're right.
Brand.
Shit.
Everyone's gonna be like, I love this, but I have no clue who these guys are.
Well, I'm Tyler Shively.
I'm Jeremy Savage Tate. Cut you in.
Yeah, you did. And I'm Adrian Castro.
All right. Well, happy to meet you guys. I know it's the first time we've ever seen each other.
Since the last time.
That's true.
Yeah.
We did take a break for Thanksgiving. And how was your Thanksgiving?
It was alright. You know, I made a beef Wellington.
Did you really?
Yeah, and it turned out it was quite popping.
I
Nice.
want to hear more about this beef Wellington.
It's expensive as fuck.
I believe that.
I think because my dad and I was like, hey, you know, we like, why make a turkey this year? Because we could make a beef Wellington. And he was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Like, I've never done that before. We looked up a recipe and we're like, all right. We assembled all the stuff and we were like, this is like $100 worth of
All
ingredients.
right. So for those who don't know, aka me, what is a beef Wellington?
A beef
You know what a
Wellington,
beef Wellington
is
No.
a
Dude.
Oh my God.
Again, just
Oh yeah, you're not white.
yeah.
Yeah,
I tend to
have you ever
forget
had a
that.
sausage roll before?
Yeah, or like a pig in a blanket.
No. So I don't know how that derailed me so hard. Effectively, it is a like a roast of beef, but it's wrapped inside of like puff pastry. And so when you and also in between is prosciutto, and there's also like a mushroom like pate that is spread around it.
I don't think I've had one with prosciutto in. I think I've just had like the basic pastry around the roast.
Yeah, I think it is pretty standard.
Is it? Okay.
But so you might have
I've had a
it
baby
just,
bitch one.
Yeah, or you had it and you just didn't realize that you were. Yeah.
But I love prosciutto.
Having it by itself, because like it was like, oh, there's only one slice left, so I'm not gonna leave this right. I had to say something. I would eat this all day, every day.
All day, every day. It is. If I'm making a charcuterie board, you know there's prosciutto on that bitch.
I do know.
You gotta put that on the charcuterie board.
Have you ever had a charcuterie board? Are we being
Not
too
really.
white for you?
A little bit, dude. I just found out what shepherd's pie was like a year ago.
That's not a like.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That one's not the most common white people food.
No, but I am mad at myself for going 25 years without knowing what that was, because that shit was delicious.
Basically, what I'm learning today is, Adrian, have you never watched a show starring Gordon Ramsay?
No.
All he talks about is beef Wellington, shepherd's pie, and lamb. Like that. Those are his 3 favorite things from what I've seen.
Oh man, I gotta get more into Gordon Ramsay.
Dude, watch Hell's Kitchen. It's very entertaining.
How come every time on Hell's Kitchen it's like, hey, so we own this restaurant. None of us have ever worked in a restaurant before. We all exclusively we came from like real estate backgrounds. That's a weird place to get a restaurant. And they're like, oh, and we're like $1 million in debt. And it's like,
don't forget the part where they use the fridge as their own personal refuge chamber. They piss and shit, I guess, in the fridge constantly. And then when Ramsay's like, well, you can't keep raw chicken next to raw feces. And they go, no one ever told me that.
Yeah. Excuse me, but this is the way we do it. Customers love it. And it's like, you're only here because you have no customers. Come on.
I love that show.
So anyways, yeah, what were we talking about?
Oh, yeah, this is a podcast. I should admit, Jeremy, we have brought you here under false pretenses. I know you thought that we were going to just, shoot the shit, have a good time, be friends. But we actually brought you here to talk about math and physics today.
And also just like give you the saddest, the most existential sense of dread that you've ever felt.
I think he's already there, honestly.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think I've lost. I'm totally in the existential dread department.
Yeah.
Well, allow us to push you further into the void.
So if
you're standing on the bottom, it's
it's like, you remember in the first Dark Souls when you have to fight the Abyss Watchers and you jump down there. It's like when you jump down there without the stupid fucking ring. Yeah.
I'm wearing the ring that lets me go like a level lower.
Okay. Yeah, so you're just looking at the Abyss Watchers, are you looking at their head or their crotch?
I'm looking at their feet. That's how low I am.
Okay, you're looking you're upskirting the Abyss Watchers? Okay, good. We're there. Now, if you guys don't drink along to this podcast, this is probably the one episode you should drink along to the podcast.
This is the one that turned me into an alcoholic.
This is actually, we're talking about the Fermi Paradox today. I'll just put it out there.
Okay.
This is one of the big reasons why Adrian and I wanted to do this podcast initially, because Adrian learned about this for the first time. I'd known about it for years because I'm smarter than him like that. And he texts me one day and he goes, hey, do you know what the Fermi Paradox is? And I was like, yeah, well, what about it? He goes, that shit just fucked me up. And I was like, oh, cool. All right. And I basically had to talk him off a ledge because the Fermi Paradox is fucked. So have you ever heard of the Fermi Paradox?
Nope.
Okay. So before we get into the actual paradox itself, we should talk about the man, Enrico Fermi, who wrote it, right?
Yeah.
Now, at first I wasn't going to have as much of a section on this about the man, but holy shit, this dude is the most accomplished man I've ever fucking researched before. So he was born in Rome, Italy, you know the place, on September 29th, 1901. His mother and father were Alberto Fermi, who was a chief inspector of ministry communications, and I forgot what his mother did, but probably not much. It was 1901. Women couldn't vote in America yet, even though they're in Italy.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
Moving on. Very, very early in Fermi's life, his parents saw that he was excellent in both math and physics, so much so that he won a scholarship to the University of Pisa in 1918 when he was only 17 years old. This dude got a scholarship at 17 to the biggest university in Italy at the time. But Adrian, if you could try to pronounce that, I know it's not Spanish.
Yeah, but close enough. Close enough. So he won a scholarship to the Scuola Normale Superiore of Pisa.
There we go. All right.
Yeah.
That's why we brought you along. There, you did your part. You can leave.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, fine.
So as he was there at only 17, he ended up earning a doctorate of physics in only 4 years, making him Dr. Enrico Fermi. He was 21 years old.
I mean, that's all right.
It's all right. I mean, it's no bachelor's in film after like the same amount of time when I was a year older.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but that's because your life is objectively worse.
You know, you bring up some good points. That is probably why we're talking about him and nobody will be talking about us. Anyway, talking about that existential.
You don't know.
Wow.
Yo, what if this podcast like takes off and we become like the next Joe Rogan?
What if I get murdered and then my case becomes very popular?
And then we'll talk about it on the podcast. Adrian, we have to murder Jeremy.
I feel like maybe go for someone that you don't immediately know.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, just like it's not like I've looked it up, but don't kill your friends and then put it on your podcast. Tell me about Enrico.
So he, after getting his doctorate, traveled all around Italy, gaining recognition from the Italian government and all other like prolific scientists of the time. He made strides in the fields of electrodynamics and radiation. He was building off the work of people like Marie Curie, big names in the science field. Mm-hmm. Eventually, he actually helped discover what nuclear fission was, and he added a shit ton of stuff to the periodic table from like his discoveries. So like the baseline of chemistry that you learn in like 7th and 8th grade, a lot of it was because of him after the fact. So, you know, in total, the dude was a goddamn genius. He eventually moved to the United States in 1938 because, you know, nothing was really happening in Italy during 1938.
I can't think of much.
Just some upstart dictator named Mussolini. And so he fled to the U.S., much like many people from Italy and Germany at the time. And he was appointed the professor of physics at Columbia. So again, big names. The dude never had a moment where he wasn't being recognized worldwide for his work. At Columbia, he helped figure out how to make the atomic bomb, which helped directly end World War II, the whole reason he went to America. He designed and oversaw the construction of the very first nuclear reactor, and he became an American citizen in 1944.
I like if that was the last one. And...
Yeah, you know, all feats at the same level. They all take about the same amount of time.
I mean, nowadays it takes like 11 years or something.
Exactly. Yeah, the same amount of time.
I don't know, I'm just going to put this out here. I was an American citizen and like one. Like,
Well, not even one. You were an American citizen at like...
I think they had to review my file.
Yeah, he came out and they were like, this guy's too fucking badass to be an American.
Yeah, let's just make sure before we put it on the...
He came out of his mom on a skateboard smoking a cigar wearing Ray-Bans. Like, this dude's too cool to be one of us.
That sounds pretty good, yeah.
So after he moved to America, which did you do this at the age of 1? He accepted a professorship at the Institute for Nuclear Studies of the University of Chicago after the war ended.
I definitely accepted one. I don't know if anyone was offering them.
You know, it's fair. And this is kind of where we get to the point where he poses what became known as the Fermi Paradox in 1950, but he ended up dying 4 years later in 1954. So the Fermi Paradox is specifically looking at a different physicist, but it was about an equation that was written in 1961. So Fermi hadn't seen this equation, he just kind of came up with it. And we're talking about the Drake equation now. So Fermi posed this idea that if we are an intelligent species who are looking to move to space, wouldn't there be other races in the galaxy that also did this? So it was one of the first really big scientific ideas about like, yo, where the hell are all the alien bitches at, you know? Because Fermi, enormous poonhound, gotta say. He wanted to slap the cheeks of every gray alien he could find. I don't know if that's exactly true, but you can quote me on it. So I'm taking a drink because we're getting to the hard part.
Yeah, this is the part that that kind of gets to me.
So, in 1961, after Fermi essentially posed the question of if there are aliens, where are they? Another physicist by the name of I forget his Frank Drake, 1961, wrote what he called the Drake equation, which is specifically meant to answer the question that Fermi posed and say, well, how many alien races are there in the galaxy? We haven't met any of them, but how many should there be? So the equation is n, being how many races are there, equals r times the f of p times the n of e times the f of 1 times the f of I times the f of c times L. Easy, right?
What do any of those letters mean?
I'm glad you asked. Our star, which is the first one, is this average rate of star formation in our galaxy, just how quickly stars formed from the outset of our galaxy to now. F of P is the fraction of those stars that have planets rotating around them. N of E is the average number of those planets that can potentially support life. F of 1 is the number of those planets that did produce life. F of I is the number of those life-supporting planets that harbored intelligent life. F of C is the number of intelligent, life-harboring planets that developed some sort of way to broadcast their existence into the galaxy. L is the length of time that they have been broadcasting. And finally, N is the total number of sentient, intelligent species that we should be able to communicate within our galaxy.
Okay.
So we reached all those points, right? Because we have been sending messages out to space for a long time. It actually, in very recent news at time recording, the Arecibo message from the Arecibo Observatory, we've been sending that out for years. But the Arecibo Observatory just collapsed. It was evacuated and it collapsed. It's gone. We're not sending messages out into space at the same scale we were before. We're still listening, but we're not sending, because that was what was cool about Arecibo. It received and sent. You know, like a good lover.
Or a good, cell phone carrier. Like, if I'm only hearing what you're saying, not as good as if you can also hear what I'm saying.
That is true. Or a good baseball player. You know, you got to send and receive.
Yeah.
Wait, that's...
So you throw it because you send it, and then you can hit it because you received it, or you caught the ball.
It wasn't.
I think the metaphor is starting to fall apart.
I don't watch baseball.
Yeah.
I thought we were falling very narrowly into a stereotype there.
Anyway, so Drake's initial calculation when he wrote this is he said there should be roughly 20 intelligent species that we should be able to communicate with.
I have a question.
Hit me.
How can you judge the amount of aliens that could send a signal out into space?
It is based roughly on our history as humans, because it's actually a great question. When our galaxy formed, right, basic knowledge of space is that a galaxy is a supermassive black hole in the middle that everything is rotating around, and then the formation of the galaxy branches out from that initial supermassive black hole. When you look at images of the Milky Way galaxy, our galaxy, and you see where Earth is placed, we're very far out from the center. We're like on the outer rim of this galaxy, which means that the stars at the middle of our galaxy would have formed billions of years before we did. So we took the age of our planet, roughly that we know, and we took the age of humanity, and then when humanity started broadcasting, and we applied that, or Drake applied that to essentially every other planet that we knew of in our galaxy. So it's more of an estimate.
I see.
By using human history to say, well, if it took us this long, probably took another species this long as well. And so if another species existed in the center of the galaxy when it was first being formed, then that means that they should have been around way longer than humanity was around, just by virtue of time.
Right. So there's supposed to be 20 aliens.
20 different races of intelligent life that we should be able to communicate with, or at least see the presence of.
So the real question is, in the galaxy, in the Milky Way?
Yeah, in the Milky Way galaxy, there should be roughly 20, according to Drake.
Isn't the Milky Way kind of large?
Yes, which is why later science revealed that a lot of Drake's variables were way off, because we didn't know as much in 1961 as we did, every year after that, because that was when we really started to learn about space. So modern calculations result in anything between 150 to up to 6,500.
Interesting. It's funny because I was expecting that number to go lower. My
Right.
question still stands of, let's say there's 6,000 in the Milky Way.
Yeah.
Very large. You're sending signals. Light speed can only go so fast. How, if you were going to average my planet and your planet to the nearest one, how far away would that be?
That didn't come up much in my research, but I do know that we have found planets that are potentially life harboring. I think a glycine 282 is the big one that's this is Earth, and it's 100 light years away or something.
Well, wasn't there also some moon that was kind of close?
Well, we think there's aquatic life in one of Jupiter's moons. But yeah, so I'm not actually sure how close they would think they are, but even if you were at the center of the galaxy 5 billion years ago and you sent a radio message out, it would have hit us by now.
Okay.
Because there's nothing to block it really in space. Eventually, it would just make it.
But wouldn't I have to be like lined up?
That's the thing. That's why actually we've been doing like the Arecibo Observatory was sending out radar pings because they just go in every direction. So yeah, we do have some satellites that point in a specific direction, which we scientists around the world have basically said, yeah, it's kind of fucking stupid because it would have to line up. But much like a cone of light, you know, it does grow, it gets weaker, but it grows. So eventually you're sweeping a large chunk, and we tend to aim them towards the center of the galaxy because that's where more stuff is.
Sure.
But yeah, we as humans have had a really weird time of sending messages to space because we don't really know how to do it the best.
That's what I was gonna say, because I mean, it's hard not to ask this question, but if you were to go out to wherever we were sending a message from and you picked it up, would it just be gargled? Would it just be like
Yes and no. So there,
I mean, wouldn't it be something kind of like the WOW signal?
yes, exactly. Talk about the WOW signal for a bit, just what
All
you know
right,
about
so
it.
the WOW signal, I forget the name of the base, but it's one of the bases that we keep, constantly receiving. It's like an open chat channel or whatever. So at some point, one of the employees was there in the in the message center all by himself when he heard this noise, and it wasn't like asteroids, or it wasn't like any noise that we have heard.
Yeah, it wasn't like random noise.
Yeah, like
we
it wasn't
hear a shit ton of random noise from space because things give off noise.
No, this was like speech. It sounded like speech.
And specifically, it had patterns to it. Because that's what we listen for when we're listening in space. We're listening for patterns. Because if something can set a specific pattern, that usually implies intelligent life or a pulsar. But even pulsars eventually screw up the rhythm because it's not trying to,
Right.
And so, yeah, so this scientist got the image.
Yeah, he got the image, and it was such a big shock that and you could look this up.
Yeah.
You could look up the transcript that he just circles it and writes in big letters, "Wow."
And so that became known as the WOW signal. It's the most potential alien life message we've ever received.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, just because, so far. Because it was so perfectly rhythmic. So we don't really send out a message being like, "Hello from Earth."
God damn it.
that was a bit loud.
Because that's what it would sound like.
Hold on, can you just calm down a bit? So wait for my ears to stop ringing, and then we'll go back to this.
So, all right. So we don't send those out saying like, "Hello from Earth." I had to back up really far for that one.
And it was still loud.
Was it really?
Yeah, well, it's fine. We'll put a limiter on it.
But yeah, because an alien wouldn't speak English, it wouldn't know what we're saying. What we
Hold
tend
on.
to do.
This is news to me.
How do you know that they don't speak English?
Because they speak Galactic Basic. Watch Star Wars, idiot.
I thought it was what's the name of it? It's Common Tongue.
That's in D&D.
D&D. Okay.
Yeah, it's Galactic Basic in Star Wars, right? You know Star Wars more.
I do know Star Wars. I think it is called the Galactic Basic, sure. But
Get fucked.
And they're also like, yeah, it's you hear it as English, but they're really speaking their own language.
Yes,
and
yeah.
it's like, yeah, okay.
Sure, whatever. Show me the pod race. I don't know why that was the Star Wars movie I decided to go to.
Show me the pod race.
Well,
Yeah.
because it's the best one.
Why did
it's
you
the
say that
one-
like you're asking for the Carfax? It's like, show me the pod race.
I think my brain probably went to that because there's the announcer during the pod race in the movie when he sees someone crash. When he sees a man mortally die in front of a live audience, goes, "I don't care what galaxy you're from and what language you speak, that's gotta hurt," or something like that.
Yeah.
And I like that line, even though the prequels blow, but they're hilarious.
Oh, they're terrible. I love them.
So, back to the Drake equation. Drake wrote this equation 11 years after Fermi posed the question, where is everyone? Because if there's at the upwards of 6,500 alien races trying to communicate in our galaxy, why haven't we heard anything? Like, we have the WOW signal, but even that's like nothing. There are, just to put it in perspective, at least 5 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. We have been broadcasting our signals for nearly 200 years, And around every star, there is this number's probably not right, so don't crucify me for it. But there's, I think it's on average between like 2 to 8 celestial bodies rotating around each star.
Mm-hmm.
So we should have heard something, or at the very least, it would be potential that we could catch a radio signal from a race that's long dead, like a precursor race.
Yeah. Okay.
But because when you send a radio signal out in space, it doesn't stop; it just keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't hear anything. So Fermi died in 1954 without an answer. Drake tried to answer it in 61, and then he died without an answer. And now we're here, and we still don't have an answer for where they are.
And it's left just to 3 random dudes on a podcast.
So we're about to figure it out.
All right, get the alcohol.
All right, so have you ever seen Mass Effect? Played Mass Effect?
Well, yeah,
Goddamn.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm ahead of you at this point, but
Have you ever played the Mass Effect?
Yeah, I
series?
have.
So you know the Reapers in Mass Effect, and how the whole thing is they awaken to kill all the sentient races and go back to sleep?
Yep.
Well, in 1996, economist Robin Hanson came up with it before Mass Effect did, because I don't know if you know this, but Mass Effect came out after 1996.
And it wasn't like, oh, that's a cool idea. What if we did that?
Yeah, I also came out after 1996.
You were gay before 1996?
No, I came out of my mother in 1997.
Oh, I see.
gross.
So did he.
He
Yeah, on
came
the
out of
same
your
day.
mother
Yeah.
in 1996.
Yeah, I told you. I told you he was really fucking cool.
Yeah, they were like, we want to get like a little Tyler, but this guy's not going to do. So they just put me up for adoption.
Yep. Adrian, you came out in 1994 or 5?
Four.
It's 4. Okay, I was right.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction was coming out, and you were like, I got to see that.
It is my favorite movie of all time, yes.
It is his favorite movie because he's a basic bitch.
Shut the fuck up. It's a great movie.
It's all right.
It's a
Hold on.
great
No,
movie.
I'm glad you said that because I agree. It's all right.
What?
It's
It's one of the best written movies of all time.
I mean, it's good. But
Quentin Tarantino's dialogue in that film is superb. Name one movie that's written better.
Have you seen 2003's Star Wars: The Clone Wars?
He doesn't like sand.
He doesn't like sand.
It's rough. It's coarse.
And it gets everywhere. Or it's irritating and it gets everywhere.
Yeah.
And then he makes a woman fall in love with him with that line.
Isn't he like 14 in that movie?
And
He's 19.
Yeah, and now when he's 19. But they met when he was like 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was like 14.
Wait.
Yeah. No, it's dude.
Episode 2 takes place 7 years after episode 1.
How do you know that?
I forgot where I read that.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to source that.
So if it's 7 years after he was 16 in that movie.
He can't be 16. He's played by like a 30-year-old actor.
Okay, like that hasn't been done in film for like a millennia.
That's true.
But I don't know where you're getting this. I'm pretty sure he's 19.
I think he is supposed. I think it is supposed to be about 10 years after.
We'll look it up later.
We'll look it up.
We'll look it up now.
Adrian, get on it while I talk
I'm
to Jeremy about Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Which will then loop back into the Fermi Paradox.
Yeah, well, actually, yes.
Yeah.
Hilariously, it's actually a potential solution to the Fermi Paradox, where economist Robin Hanson coined the term great filter in 1996. And he stated that a great filter is something that a sentient race needs to reach. And then there's not 50-50, but we're going to go 50-50 for argument's sake. They only have the choice of passing the filter or going extinct. Mm-hmm. So humanity has gone through a bunch of great filters. I believe when it's written, it's kind of funny because the first 2 great filters are a universe needs to exist and physics as we know it needs to exist.
Yeah, that's definitely going to stop me when I'm without my universe. And,
so we're 2 for 2 already, baby. Mm-hmm. But then filter 1, DNA needs to figure out how to exist in some form. Filter 2 is complex life must then develop using the DNA in some form. Mm-hmm. Filter 3 is multicellular organisms form. 4 is species form brains, then eventually civilization. 5 is the species become its planet's dominant species. And a big example of that would be splitting the atom. Because that's like the ultimate display of using our world to our benefit. The next one would be that the species attempts to leave its planet. The next one would be species then colonizes its whole star system. Then it'll colonize neighboring star systems. Then it forms a galactic empire. And then I am the Senate. So that's up to like 9 filters or 9 to 11 filters that we know of, but we don't really know what the next one is because that's further than we've gotten. There are a bunch of theories like, do you become a psionic being? Do you discover extra dimensional travel? It's things that would only be sci-fi to us because we just, our brains can't comprehend it that far. But when you cross filter, of course you have to either pass or go extinct. And our current filter could be, hey, we split the atom, but are we going to kill ourselves in nuclear war?
Probably.
And so we're recording this in late 2020. So there's probably a few things on your mind that could cause a great filter. For example, we could all get killed by 5G.
That's probable.
That wasn't my first go-to, but yeah.
What was your go-to?
4G.
He's right. 4G is killing us all.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a better chance of being killed by LTE.
Just to completely go even further, when I was a kid, my mom was convinced that eating specifically Act 2 brand buttered microwave popcorn was gonna give me cancer.
Just that brand?
Yeah. She didn't have a problem with like Orville Redenbacher or anything, but she was like, if you they say that eating all that gives you cancer.
Just that one.
Just that, because she never said it about anything else.
Was it an issue of like you would go to the movie theaters and buy popcorn and she'd be like, what brand of popcorn is this?
Well, no, it would be that I love popcorn. I love popcorn. And I really like, of the popcorn brands you make your microwave, I really like the Act 2 Butter Lovers brand. And if she just said, hey, you're going to become a fat, ugly idiot if you keep eating that, then she'd be proven correct. But I didn't get cancer. Yet. Thanks for the optimism, big guy.
I mean, when's the last time you got checked out?
You might have it now.
I gotta go. And in what we believe it would be causing the Fermi Paradox is that the great filters killed off all the other aliens.
So like global warming, that's a good filter.
Yes, well, global warming could eventually, like climate change destroying the Earth. We don't pass the filter. Nuclear war, we don't pass the filter. I don't know, just throwing out a random crazy idea, like if some plague, some pandemic were to hit, that could kill off humanity. But that would never happen because we have systems in charge to take care of that when it crops up, and the world governments would definitely use those systems in order to stop a pandemic.
Of course. I mean, we don't live in a fucking. We don't live in what's. I'm trying to think of what's that movie? Contagion. Yeah. No, we don't live in a movie. What does that word even mean? I haven't even heard that word at all for the last 8 months. Oh, it's good alcohol. Seriously, though, Contagion's a great movie. I just saw it.
I actually haven't seen it.
I remember seeing it in theaters, and I remember at the time it basically the movie being like a precursor to what we were doing earlier this year. It was just like, wear a mask, don't touch your face, and they were talking about that like in 2014. It was like,
Did the people in the movie wear masks and not touch their face?
I think there actually is a plot point where some people are a little bit more resistant to like caring than other people, but I don't think
super unrealistic. That would never happen.
I don't think it's quite to the level of just masses of people just being like, no, not real. No. Oh yeah, all these people dying. Show me the bodies. Like fucking get everyone who's ever died of this and fucking put them in my front yard so I can look at them, and then I'll fucking pretend like it's a real thing. They're like, where'd you get these bodies? A little sus, don't you think?
But that one died of a heart attack, didn't it?
Yeah. This one, you claim died of COVID, but it actually died because the doctor cut its head off. It's like, where are you getting that information? Its head's still on. No.
They sewed it back on. They can do that. They're doctors.
Yeah.
What are you, an idiot?
Stop oppressing me.
So, we believe
I have the right to breathe O2, not CO2.
God, it's like being in a room with everyone I hate all in one.
Yeah, but that was even before the bit.
You're right. So there's a lot of theories of why we have made it this far and other alien species haven't.
Dumb luck.
Well, that's actually probably the real one. So one of the big ones, which I think is one of the more interesting ones, is just we're the first to do it. like humanity might be the first species to gain intelligence, because it's possible that life is even more rare than we think it is. And because we only really have one real example, and it's Earth. This is the only planet we actually concrete know has life on it. So we're both extremely special and extremely lucky because we're the only ones who have done this. Not to any of our own like credit, but we're the first
I'd like
do
to
it.
take credit for being alive around the time that we were handing out participation trophies.
Did you ever get a participation trophy as a kid?
When I was a kid, yeah.
Yeah, really, Adrian?
Well, I didn't play sports. Again, I was raised by musicians.
That's
so.
true. You never got a trophy for being just
Arguably,
swell
I
at
didn't play
drums?
sports either. I think
I
what
mean-
I did was stand on the field and just make every parent regret bringing their kid to.
Are you me?
Okay, I didn't get a participation trophy. I think the most or the closest thing I've ever gotten was perfect attendance,
Wow, you're such a fucking loser.
and it wasn't even like no matter how sick I was, if I could still walk, my mom would send me to school.
God, I found excuses to not go to school so I could lay under my covers and play Pokemon Sapphire.
I love Pokemon Sapphire.
What year would that have been in? What
I
year
don't know,
would
like
that?
senior year of high school.
Oh yeah, okay.
No, I
Senior
think-
year of high school, you were very sick.
Yeah, oh, yeah, he's right. I was gone for like 6 months, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I got strep throat twice in a row, and I am deathly allergic to penicillin.
Holy shit.
See, the thing is that, and I don't know how accurate this is, but maybe like a few months after you had gotten back, because I think you were really big with bronchitis and stuff like that.
I never got bronch.
Okay.
I always stayed at strep because I can feel it, like when it's just I have a sore throat and I need to go to a doctor's stat.
Yeah, maybe it was our other friend Ryan, who he had bronchitis at some point.
Yes, yeah. he would
I thought that you two like gave it to each other because constant makeout sessions, and then he gave it to me through our constant makeout sessions.
Why you gotta out me like
Yeah,
that?
but around the same time, I had gotten really sick. Not like noticeably sick, but it got to the point where I was just waking up in the middle of the night being like, I can't breathe, and just gasping for air, and I didn't do anything about it. Like, it literally was at a point where I was like 4 weeks into daily being like,
Oh God.
and then I was like, it's fine. I'm just like, I just feel like a little bit of water in my throat every time I'm trying to breathe. And eventually,
I hate that so much.
I was just over at a friend's house, and it was like my brother and a bunch of other friends, and we had just worked like the full day, and they were like doing something like, I'm gonna fall asleep, and so I fell asleep and just woke up and did that in front of them immediately. Everyone was like, we need to get you to the hospital right now.
Have you ever gotten a pink eye?
Yes.
Adrian, if you have.
I've never gotten pink eye,
So the
to
only-
my knowledge.
The only way I got pink eye was because I apparently had an ear infection, and apparently if it spreads like across your face, it'll give you pink eye. I don't know if you had the same thing I did, Jeremy, but I woke up one morning and I could not open my eyes
No.
because they'd like crusted over, and I was
That's terrifying.
terrified.
I had pink eye, but I was so young that I didn't realize I had pink eye. Like, literally no one really told me what was going on until eventually they're like, oh yeah, you have this, and then I got the medicine for it and I was fine. But I didn't have the issue of suddenly being blind and not knowing what to deal with it. How old were you?
I think this was in like either late elementary school or early junior high.
Oh, okay.
Did you believe that you were just like blind for life or anything?
For about 5 minutes I did, and then I wandered my way out of my room, and I think I tripped and fell, and my mom was super worried, and apparently she just saw my eyes and was like, oh, and she just like got a warm wet rag and like cleaned my eyes off, and I could see again.
Oh, so it was like physically just sealing, just like
It
was like crimping your eyelids.
Well, it was like pink eye is gross as shit. Basically, from my understanding, like juice that's on your eyeball will crust up, and it like sealed my eyelashes together. And so she had to like clean my eyelashes so I could open my eyes, and I was so upset.
You're like,
God.
I'm not going to school today
I'm
just to
gonna play
make.
Pokemon Sapphire.
I'll be back under the covers. Thank you very much.
My Torchic needs me, Mom. And so, on that note, the final thing about being the first intelligent species is something that none of us will understand. It's the idea that intelligent life requires a brain, which is evolutionary inefficient. And this is a real thing. An intelligent brain in nature is super inefficient. Our brains take up so much goddamn energy. It's why we need to eat so much and sleep so much, and why we eventually shut down as like a living creature, because it's so complex and our bodies are so fragile, and our evolution fucked up somewhere, and now we're sentient.
So it'd be better off if we weren't sentient.
Correct.
Like a tree.
Yeah, or just like an animal, just any other animal.
So it's not having a brain in general. It's just how
intelligence.
Functioning our brain is.
Yeah, our intelligence, which gives us our sentience, is a problem.
Humans often live way longer than most animals.
Yes, but think of it this way.
I won't think about it anyway.
We have our brains that have made us intelligent as a species, and we have become by far the most dominant species on our planet.
Sure.
So now our brains don't really need to be as smart as they are, because we did it. We accomplished the thing. Nothing threatens us anymore. But my cat, the dumbest motherfucker on the planet, does not ever need to evolve to have intelligence, because he's going to be safe without predators, getting food and water every day. And that is infinitely easier than going to work and trying not to go into debt.
I'm going to tell Meg that you called your cats the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet.
No, what she knows. She knows that one of them specifically is a fucking idiot. He farted himself awake the other day and was so scared that he didn't come out from under the bed for like 24 hours.
I mean, I've done the same.
I don't want anyone to freak out, but there might be a ghost in the house. It'll be over here.
So,
I gotta say, this doesn't really affect me.
yeah, I feel like you've kind of understood this, maybe not in these exact terms, but I feel like you've thought similar to me in this the whole time, which is like, yeah, fuck it, we're all gonna die off eventually.
I mean, I have heard different ideas of like our universe may not be a technically complete universe, in the sense that if you picture our universe being in like a bubble in a boiling pot of water, like it does not last very long and it will just not exist.
The Men in Black theory, we're just a game of marbles.
Yeah, but it's more of just like, yeah, you expect your universe to be like this constant thing that's always there, but in reality, like, it could literally just be like, oh, it was like a fluke that's only supposed to be around a few seconds, but to our perspective, it's quite a long time.
Yeah.
And then it just doesn't exist anymore. And it's like, yeah, that's ultimately scary, but I don't...
But what are you going to do
about
it?
Okay, like, cool. Like, if we suddenly stop existing, I will never have to fucking worry about that.
Yeah, and it's kind of the idea of like the Matrix. If you find out that you're in a simulation, like the Matrix movies show, like, oh, but we can fight back against simulation. But that
I would not care. I'd be like, that sounds so much more fucking work. Like,
exactly, right? Because whatever. Like,
because now I'm mostly like, all right, I know this. Maybe I'll keep it like on the low key so no one freaks out. But I also can fly now, so
yeah, right. Like, whatever. But the other idea of the Great Filter is that not that we're just the first ones, but maybe we're not the first ones. Maybe we're like the last ones, but we haven't met the real Great Filter yet, which is the Mass Effect theory. The Reapers haven't woken up. Everyone else is dead because they reached the Great Filter and all of them failed. But we haven't got there yet.
And it could be anything from, like, maybe fucking global warming took out everybody.
Yeah, maybe intelligent life is inherently unsustainable.
Or maybe what's the great god in Lovecraft, the biggest one?
The big one. I don't remember his name.
I don't remember his name.
Steve.
But, like,
that's true.
Maybe it's just Steve that, like, oh shit,
There's like Relay, there's Cthulhu, and then there's like Steve.
Yeah. Like, maybe it's just Steve being like, oh shit, they're
Minecraft Steve.
Yeah, like, maybe it's just fucking Minecraft Steve, and as soon as he sees that a species is, reaching his fucking, I don't know, his fucking godhood or whatever, he just comes over here and fucking picks us.
Yeah.
Like, just...
He breaks the block underneath us, both
fall
metaphorically
right
and metaphysically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've all been there. We've all dug straight down and been like, fucking, I know I'm not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
I've only played Minecraft once, and, like, I remember digging all the way to the very bottom and fighting a dragon.
No, you don't find a dragon. You there's a portal you can go through that brings you to a dragon.
Oh, was it? Is that what happened? I remember finding a dragon.
You say
I
you
think
only
I
play
brought
it
you.
once, but that must mean that you were playing for quite a while.
I played with Tyler.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I think I was just showing him like this is the dumb shit you can do in Minecraft. I probably threw him in an.
What was the opinion at the end?
I mean, it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll probably play it again at some point.
I want to start a Pixelmon server
Mm.
because that's a good mod.
I see. Here's the thing. My thing with Minecraft is I'm always like, it's like I just make chores for myself.
Yep.
Like I wouldn't do chores in real life, but it's like, oh,
But
well,
I'll make a sugarcane farm.
yeah,
Sure.
like 90% of the time I'm playing Minecraft, like I'm just gonna get a huge plot of land. There's gonna be a farm. Like I'm always like, I want it to be that someone is walking along and going, wow, I can see that guy's house from so far away.
The thing is, like, I'm kind of stupid, and I want the game to just tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
It more or less does now.
does it?
Yeah, it has like a guide basically.
Oh,
Like
okay.
like an in-game guide that'll be like, hey, you're up to this point.
Yeah, because I
Continue here.
remember the first few times that I tried it, it was like just like it plopped me into the world, and I'm like, fuck, what do I do?
Yeah.
You didn't have the Wikipedia page up on your
Yeah.
Nope.
You didn't know that you need to go find coal in like the side of a mountain somewhere to make a torch.
Is that what you're supposed to do? Oh well, fuck. Okay. Yeah. See, like I just need somebody to tell me this shit. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
Well, I mean that pretty much covers the idea of the Fermi Paradox and the great filters.
Yeah.
And it all kind of leads up to one of my favorite quotes is from Arthur C. Clarke. And his idea is two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. And both are equally terrifying. And in my opinion, I think being alone in the universe is way more terrifying.
Yeah. But also, like, if you think about it in the sense of if we start moving around in spaceships, we're not alone in the universe because there's just going to be the humans on that planet and the humans on that planet, you know?
Yeah.
yeah, and then eventually we'll find a desert planet with worms.
That's
The literal plot of Dune.
Dune.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's really
So,
into Dune right
I'm
now.
really into Dune.
All right.
It's a good thing to be into.
It's
Yeah.
a great thing to be into.
Because you just suddenly watched the movie, or you...
No,
No,
he's
I've always
it
been
for a
into
while.
Dune.
Okay,
He's
so
just
it's not
it's a-
suddenly into Dune. It's
But he's suddenly really into Dune.
I mean, I've always been really into Dune.
the
It's
movie's
just-
about to come out again.
I
So
know. I'm so excited.
What are you gonna do if it bombs? Like if it's
I'm
garbage?
gonna cry. I'm gonna cry so bad.
well, I mean, isn't the like the David Lynch movie not really considered like particularly accurate to Dune, anyways?
David Lynch movie fucking sucks.
Yeah,
I could go on. I don't want to.
Movie podcast.
I could talk.
brain.
I could talk for a solid hour about why exactly that movie is trash.
I don't know why we don't have a movie podcast. We're like, let's do cryptids, and we're like, what's all of our professions? Oh, we're kind of film related. Yeah, all right. No, yeah, we'll just ghost hunting. That's the next topic.
Anyway, Mothman prophecies. But yeah, thank you for joining us once again for this fucking garbage.
Yeah, sorry we wasted your time, buddies. And budettes.
But that's kind of their fault, you know?
Yeah, the fact that you even made it this long, good on you.
Yeah.
Get ready for the inevitable heat death of the universe because we're all doomed anyway.
Unless this really important thing happens, and I'll say it right